Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
It's the After the Show podcast, precious.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get risque every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Yeah, hello. What is going on here? The KVJ After the Show podcast. Yeah, you can watch us live on Facebook. We do that, and I just clicked on Facebook, and it looks like they have completely changed their look. And I kind of, hey, I know you do this. It's all great. You always got to be changing, doing something different. I'm one of those people that kind of hates it because, it never works out in your favor because, like, right now, I'm trying to find our live video, and I'm like, I don't know where it is. Like, it's not there. And now you're just like, okay. It just, there's a lot of hassles that you kind of got to go through, and there's a matter of how much tolerance do I have for these hassles, and now I'm just like, yeah, okay, all right, there it is.
You work here, and you're too hassled to do it,
Well,
so can you imagine?
You know my thoughts on Facebook. Denny's was ranting about it, too, because he had to find something quick for the show during the show, and Facebook, old Zuckerberg does the old switcheroo on him.
Yeah.
Our poor sweet Denny's. Very mad.
That guy's been getting an earful. I saw he was meeting with a lot of people who've been canceling their advertising, and he's meeting with the NAACP and a bunch of other groups that are not happy with him.
Keep yelling at him.
He got a long line of people that are very frustrated, old Zuckerberg.
They annoy me, Facebook.
Yeah, okay. Did my first coat of my spray-on tanness with my mask on.
Yes, you did.
Hasn't kicked in quite yet. It takes a minute, I think.
It'll take a while. I did one round, and then we're going to do another one here before I leave, and after the podcast, let this one kind of dry out.
It takes about 6 hours to fully develop. Mm-hmm. The longer you let it sit on your skin, the browner you'll be before you bathe.
We did it a long time to me, and it does. It really shows up. It takes a good few hours, but...
And I don't use the kind with bronzer in it. If you use one with bronzer, then it shows up kind of immediately, but then the bronzer rubs off on all your clothes, and it just creates a big mess.
Yeah.
Don't even try to sit on no white furniture.
Oh, yeah. Who wants that mess?
A mess.
I imagine you're actually going to start seeing this. The idea was from somebody telling me that, Disney, they want you to wear a mask when you're at the pool unless you're in the water. That's the only time you can take it off. That's what they were saying. I don't know if that's legit or not, but I imagine there's going to be a lot more people. You're probably going to start seeing mask tans. People are wearing them outside, and, Mark County just made them mandatory to wear pretty much about everywhere. All the other 3 southern counties to the south of it to have that going on. As it's getting hotter and people are outside, you'll probably start seeing people that are going to get mask tans, and it is not going to be flattering. It's going to be a weird, sunglasses is one thing. You see people with that, and you kind of expect that, but a mask tan is going to be, it's going to be a little weird. It's going to take a little while to get used to some of those.
It's a large box on your face.
So I'm getting a mask tan. We're just trying to speed it up.
Not to be controversial, I'm just simply asking a question. Do you guys ever have a tough time depending on the mask you use? Does it affect your breathing at all?
Yeah, some of them are thick and then some of them are thin.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are made with some kind of fabric that doesn't breathe well.
Agreed. There's a couple of the fabrics you're talking about. Depending on how hot it is, it can really choke you out quick.
Yeah, I've got like 6 different masks in my purse, so I'm always ready to roll with like whatever the circumstances are. But there are certain masks that I can't wear outside.
Agreed.
Because I'll get too hot and too sweaty. And
legit have a tough time catching your breath in.
Yeah, it's dank in that mask.
The best one is the blue medical one. I think Denny's has got it. That's the one that I can breathe in without it getting too crazy. I like some of the cloth ones. They look cool, but I think they're killing me. I sound like the people in the clips.
Yeah, you do.
The masks are killing me.
I can't breathe.
Yeah, I think it's something we're probably going to have to get used to. I'm up to 2 masks now that I'm kind of rotating, but who knows what this whole thing is going to be in the future of it. I saw one person who is in the medical field, and they were estimating that we might be wearing masks for years.
this is going to be the new, if you go to Publix, you're going to have a mask on. That's the way your life is going to be.
Well, you think about it. I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm reading all the numbers. And I'm just kind of talking out loud here. And maybe, people can interject. This is a conversation is what I'm having here. This is a conversation. I'm not telling you anything. You guys can talk back. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, where this whole thing is going to wind up going. Now, they're talking about coming up with a vaccine. The latest I saw on that is the federal government here is going to be paying this drug maker, Novavax, $1.6 billion to develop a successful vaccine and produce 100 million doses by early 2021. Now, apparently this company has never brought a product to market, so they think it's kind of a gamble that they're giving them this much money to do this, and you hope that's okay. So let's say that we get that early 2021. We are still looking at probably a good another 6 months of masks, correct? I would say.
Yeah, probably.
Probably we're looking at that because what we saw is you get the numbers low, but then as soon as you start kind of ramping it back up, numbers are going to go back up. And I even wondered this, like I saw New Zealand, yay for them, they got down to 0 cases. But the thing I had seen was right after they did that, I thought shut down borders, and they're an island. So they can, try to keep that out. But if you get one germified corona person there that starts going to this soccer match that they showed, or rugby, whatever it was, at that stadium, and they start spreading, then here we go again in New Zealand, right?
Are they still at 0?
That was the latest thing that they were touting that I had seen, just that blurb. I'm not really keeping my close eyes on New Zealand.
And is that even real?
I know. That's just it. So this is all just part of the conversation of this. So let's say we even knock down to minimal numbers. It still is something where you can get it and you hope that it stays minimal, but that's what we're seeing about this virus is it spreads like crazy.
Well, that's what I kept on asking about China was when they shut everything down and then they opened everything up and people started going back out into the world where the case is just going to spike back up. And I was wondering, just because it's contained doesn't mean it's cured.
Yeah, and the problem with the vaccine even is the latest thing I'd seen on that, they did some survey, and who knows what winds up happening about it, but there's a lot of people that are not into vaccines that are not going to do it. And they were at a point where on that survey, I think it was 38%, almost 40% of people said they're not going to do it. The minimum number that I'm hearing you're supposed to have for the herd immunity, where it's like, okay, we can start opening things up and not worry about masks, is 70%. So we're not even matching the number of the people that are going to agree to do the vaccine to reach herd immunity. So that's why, as we're talking about masks, you start having the conversation as we are right now. And logically, to me, I could see a situation where masks just become our new reality for a very long time. I don't see an end to it.
Or does the government just say, you know what? Do what you want. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. We think it helps. But if you don't want to wear a mask, don't, because there's so much contention. And there's more people out there that do not want to wear a mask, that won't wear a mask than you think.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the numbers are. We've done 2 very unscientific polls with minimal numbers, and it seems about 80% for, 20 against, what I'm seeing from that. But I don't know. I've not seen a poll on I'm not wearing a mask and more of those numbers are.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not higher for the mask, but I just think I think there's more people out there than you think that are against wearing a mask and are going to be vocal about it and probably defiant about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, just what you want when you go out. Vocal and defiance. Ugh, no thanks. I'll stay home.
You do want that if you are on a radio show. Just get the camera out.
Well, that's
I got a new viral video.
That's the guy at Costco in Fort Myers that went viral yesterday and lost his job today. So that's it. So who knows, when it comes to some of the masks and, the cities are mandating it. Martin County does now. And so that might just be something we have to do. So who knows? In a year and a half, 2 years, you might have 10 different masks that you now are mixing and matching. Oh, this is my fancy mask.
This is my mask that goes with this outfit.
This is my playful mask. This is my beach mask.
This is I'm getting laid mask.
Yeah.
That one crusty.
You got to wash that thing.
That one you need to wash each and every time.
In fact, you might want to just get about 30 I'm getting laid masks.
So that might be what we're looking at. So every day is something new, though. I think that I get an understanding of this, and then the very next day it's completely changed.
It really is weird how at any given moment you just hit refresh on the internet of whatever site you're on, and there's could possibly be this huge headline about something being different and odd and crazy, not of this level. You keep on seeing people say it, we're at the Jumanji level.
Do you ever have a moment during the day when you're just like, what the hell is going on? This is like the worst nightmare ever, and it's real.
Not every minute of every day. It's very, to me, it's just very interesting, the contradictions of all the things that have come out. I wouldn't even exaggerate that it's probably once a day. I'm just like, what the hell, man? You're what? What is going on now? What is the latest?
What did they say?
This is just insane. Yeah, it is. It is a mad world out there.
Now's the time for aliens to come. Or is it the time to stay away? I don't know.
Maybe aliens set all this up.
It's funny you bring that up because there's a Twilight Zone episode I'm going to not tell you about because I know you don't give a fuck. But it's kind of about that.
Thank you for sparing us the story, but still getting the point across.
I got to tell you, I was watching the Ancient Aliens yesterday. And, man, something, I just popped into this one episode and blew my mind.
That show does that. And you think, okay, they're running out of shit to talk about. And they always have some new angle they bring up.
I mean, this whole thing just, this would be a weird and whatever. Maybe I'll drop in if you ever want to talk about this one.
That's going on today, if you want.
What time?
We'll be going on at 3 p.m.
Okay.
On our Zoom.
Yeah, might have to. I probably should research this more before I come on and start talking about it because I don't know anything about it. Haven't even watched the whole episode.
Doesn't stop me.
I love to have half information and just run.
Fact,
That's the whole dirt of the day, by the way.
I'm not even sure if I'm going to say it right, but it was about this stone formation in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe. And there's this guy, he just had like a farm and he noticed like a rock sticking out and he started kind of like dusting away and he's like, hey, this thing is attached. And he kept just kind of dusting and dusting and dusting. And it just kept going and going and going. And there were these formations that came out of the ground. And so he's like, I ought to get somebody that maybe knows something about this. And he brought in archaeologists. And this was in like 1994. And now, since that time, you can see a photo of it. They just kept dusting and dusting and dusting. It kept going on. These are 12,000-year-old stones. And they say it resets where humans started. Because remember when I went to Israel?
Yeah.
Well,
Jerusalem Cav, who could forget?
Yes.
He came back all knowing. It was beautiful.
Well, we had gone to a place that for a long time they believe was the oldest city, Jericho. It's in the Bible. There's a story about it. There's a song that goes along with Jericho. 10,000 years. This thing would predate that by 2,000 years, this structure. And so there are little carvings on these things that refer to the great flood of Noah, and that would even push the date of that back. So this may reset humanity and everything that we've known about the history of mankind if this thing pans out. I know Virginia doesn't care, but to me, I was like...
I'm so locked in, and I feel like...
I think this is kind of a big story, right?
At least once a year, you have one of these stories that I feel like should be on every network, and no one ever covers it. That's why my favorite network's KNN.
It was on Ancient Aliens, the show. I can't remember what episode it was. It was like season 2, episode 5, and I'm like, why do I not know about this? I love this kind of stuff.
Your old stones are fascinating.
And it resets the story of creation and everything else. All the timetables are now out of whack, or they don't know what the heck this is.
Dude, we can't even get a fucking the coronavirus and the mask together as people. You think we know what the fuck happened back then?
So that's why it blew my mind. And it's not far from Mount Ararat where they think that Noah's Ark came to rest. So they put all that in there. And there's some creatures that are on these carvings that are not native to that area now. And they're wondering,
Well, just think about all the shit people get wrong constantly.
Yep.
And we're living in modern technology. We're so smart. We don't know shit about what happened back in those ancient times. There's so much shit that we think we know. We don't know.
They said that they've done ground penetrating radar and it's continuing to go on and on and on. There's no end to this. And there's just one formation after another. And they say that the way it's positioned too, it could be charged, and they think that aliens may use this with the gravity to power how they travel. They've got some of these rock formations all over planet Earth, and that could be it. because they're kind of like magnetized, these rocks on top of it.
I'm convinced aliens have been on Earth. Convinced of it.
Mm-hmm. So, and they say too that the stone itself, they don't have any of the tools on how they made it. They were just mysteriously made, and they shouldn't have had that technology then to carve these rocks the way they did.
It's like that whole that piping system in China where it goes underneath the water through this mountain, and they don't even know what kind of material it is. We don't have it on Earth, Virginia.
Yeah, maybe I need to jump on the weird and whatever today.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael just said there's a 30,000-year-old pyramid in Bosnia. I got to look at that. These are the kind of things that I shouldn't be knowing. I don't know this stuff.
There are so many stories like this, but I guess a lot of people find them boring. But there's so much of this shit out there that's fascinating stuff.
I just don't understand how people don't even care about the origin of humanity. Like
I know,
Virginia's like I don't care where I came from. What's on the Kardashians this week?
I want answers so bad. Yes.
It changes who you are, where you came from, the whole story of life, who
I'm
we
just
are.
over here trying to match my mask to my outfit.
Right.
Since I was a kid, I'm like, why are we here? What was before all this? What's the purpose?
Right. How people have no interest in that whatsoever. That blows my mind.
It blows my mind too.
Just like why do
I
they
think
even
you have
care?
a little bit too much interest, personally.
Where we came from? No, I'm sorry. There's so many questions I have about what the fuck this is. And if I don't get answers, I'm going to be really bummed out. I want answers.
The curiosity, the circle I always tell you about. Humans, we have that propensity. We want to close the circles. We got to solve the mysteries.
I think about what happens after we die every single day. You don't think about that?
I do think about it, but I don't obsess on it.
Not even in a morbid, scary, sad, depressing way. I just want to know, what's the next level? Is there another level? If there's not another level, then what the shit is this?
I think there's another level.
Yeah, I would think there's another level too.
And I think all your human cravings don't exist in that level. Like your quest to know, where am I come from? Like, I think once you pass on to the next level, I think it all gets answered. And I think you become chill.
Well, I've had too much ghost shit to happen to me personally not to think that there's something else going on. Now, maybe ghost stuff is of this level and maybe some people can see it, or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
Who gave you a Sharpie? Put that down. Right. You're going to end up with it all over you. We have a rule. No one gives him permanent marker.
All right, leave me alone.
Jaybird had asked this question. I'll just throw this in real quick. What historic event would you like to have high-quality video of?
Oh.
If you could do.
I bet you Kevin's going something Jesus.
I mean, that would be a good one to have. That's got to be up there.
Yeah, that arguably would be my number one. Jesus' crucifixion is number one. There's so many other Bible stories. I wouldn't want to take the whole thing up with all the stories from the Bible, but to me, that either proves or disproves any of those stories, and I'm sure it just adds so much context to the story.
For me, I think that's a great one. That would probably be number two. Number one, Roswell. If that really happened the way they said it happened,
really that'd be disappointing. Though, imagine if you get the footage and you're watching it and you're like, nothing happened.
But at least I would know, and then that would be a big break for me because that's a big feather in the cap.
To close the circle.
Yes, to go, okay, if they're lying about that and that's the big feather in the cap, then all right, maybe I'm going to be backing up the whole alien. I would still believe in aliens, but then I would not trust the government even that much more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fascinating stuff. Let me see. Signing the Declaration of Independence, because we don't have any of that stuff. Revolutionary War.
Yeah, and just to see how all of those guys acted and hung out with each other. You know what I mean? Were they fucking around with each other laughing, or were they very serious with their wigs on?
Yeah, I mean, they do have you see the painting, and it probably would look a lot like that, and it may not be as exciting as you would think, but it would just be fascinating to have that.
I heard Ben Franklin was a pimp. That he was just porking and eating and porking Virginia.
Really?
That's what I heard.
He ate the pork and then he ate the girls?
Yeah. I think chicks dug him.
Oh, he was real big into cunnilingus. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard.
Oh, could you imagine going down on somebody in the 1700s? How gross it probably was.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Everyone's ass smells terrible.
Oh, everybody's ass.
Just think about the plumbing system. It was terrible. I don't think was oral sex even a thing back then.
I think it's always been around.
No, you're right. It has been.
I think the first man and woman, I think that they were like, let's just give it a shot.
Let's see where this goes. All
Yeah.
right, let's taste that.
Feels great.
All right, that didn't taste so good. Let me not put it there.
You know there's a lot of experimenting going on.
Of course.
Dinosaurs, that'd be great. Don't have any kind of video on that. Seeing that.
Could you imagine having a real life T-Rex?
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't. Because it would be like Jurassic Park. Wouldn't it come after you and eventually try to kill you?
Abe Lincoln getting shot.
Yeah, I mean, there are some photos from around that, but yeah, and that would be disturbing to see him taking one right in the head.
But if you had like a Facebook Live video of Booth, he's like, all right, guys, I'm getting ready to do this. That would be crazy to
If
see.
you could stop Booth.
Would it be
Funny
crazy
enough
to
you say that, because there's a Twilight Zone episode about that, too.
Wow.
Yeah, that would definitely change the course of the way America would look today if that assassination had not happened. And then
We
the dude,
need him.
after he capped Lincoln, too, he jumped out of the booth. Booth jumped out of the booth and down onto the stage. I think he broke his ankle.
But
in
he
the
was on the
process.
run for a while, though, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he did. And then he kind of like ran out the back. It was like,
It's hard to run with a broken ankle.
It was so dramatic, yeah.
The adrenaline's got to really be kicking in.
Yeah.
I think that's what the deal was. It's been a while since I've looked up that story, but I think there was something dramatic about that. So yeah, the video would be good. And then the place I just mentioned in Turkey, or some of these primitive cultures, just to see the Incas, Aztecs, Mayans, and some of these things, to be like, okay, what was Stonehenge? Give me video of that so I can see what the heck these people were doing there.
No shit. Imagine if you had the full-on video of how they did it and
Yeah.
what did it.
That
That's
stuff
another
would be
question.
crazy. There's other things. There's French Revolution. You had queens that were put onto the guillotine. Things like that. Video of those kind of things.
That's intense.
I don't know if I'd want to watch that.
Guillotine?
There's a pussy.
There's some stuff. I don't know. Like yesterday on Netflix, I've been on that World War II kick, and I got onto the Nazi death squads. And man, you talk about how disturbing some of the videos are we see that go viral today. It ain't nothing. Like, it gives you a real perspective of. It was disturbing. They were beating Jews to death in the street, and they had women there with their kids on their shoulders just watching us like it was a sport. And I'm like, so when you think like our world today is kind of messed up, you're like, you go back, 60, 80 years, and that's some messed up stuff. Man.
And you're right. Some of that stuff, you got to be careful if you watch it and watch too much of it. I told y'all about when I watched that Vietnam special. It was 9 hours long on Christmas Day. And after like the 8th hour, it's kind of fucking with my head a little
There's
bit.
a big difference
You
between
can't watch A Christmas Story like everybody else.
I'm different.
It's different watching fake gore and the real stuff.
Of
I
course.
can watch any kind of like a Narcos or something like that, but it's when you see the real footage. That's why that question is like, I don't know, some of the stuff, do you want to see it or not?
And I usually watch pretty heavy shit when it comes to the murder stuff, but there's one thing that even I sometimes have to turn it off. I can't even finish it. Autopsy on HBO. It's a fascinating show, but my gosh, it is A, it's heartbreaking on some of the stories, and B, man, it is creepy as fuck because they show everything.
If you want to do a Jesus scape, why don't you pick when he was born? See, like what went down there. Were there 3 wise men? Was it in a manger? Was it in a room? Because they had no room for him at the inn. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I've been to the place where they believe that Jesus was born.
But what really went down?
It was a cave. There were no wise men and stuff
Was
were
Mary
there.
really a virgin? That's crazy to think about.
Virginia's got a point, though. What really went down? If you had the film, there's no more questions. You got it.
Yeah, that's why I think you could go through 30 Bible stories that you want to see. Be like, okay, I want to see what this really looked like.
There's some history stuff, though, that would be really cool.
And it would answer, did it really happen or not? And did it happen that way?
I'd love to see cavemen in their natural habitat just to see what the hell was going on. What were they doing all day? Hunting?
You're right.
Porking?
When did they figure it out?
When did they figure it out?
When they figured out the wheel and fire, they had to be like, shit, we got this.
And think about, especially back then, 1600s, 1700s, a hurricane comes. You probably think the wrath of God is hitting your place. You didn't know what the shit was going down.
You didn't have Steve Weigel
Or
telling you it was coming. You're just like, all of a sudden, this looks bad.
Yeah, the first humans, when they see the moon doing all kinds of crazy shit, they're probably like, fuck moon!
You think that was it?
That's what I would act like if I was a cave.
You still do that. You still get the shit scared out of you by a harvest moon.
I respect the moon and I find it mysterious and cool, but it does scare me a bit. But I respect it. But it scares me.
Somebody texted in and said the building of the pyramids. There are a lot of ruins that you see that I would like the video of what it looked like when it wasn't ruined. You know, I'd like to see the temple in Jerusalem. What did it look like when it was thriving and it was used day to day? And same with the pyramids and all those. So all things would be great to have video of.
Old school sports, too, might be cool. They didn't have video stuff of.
Chariot races.
You could see a lot of, you could see people play that never were filmed before.
Yeah, they used to have some crazy stuff. I think there was some, I remember a documentary I watched years ago, but I think there was some like Inca sports where they had to get a ball through a hoop kind of thing. And I think the losers they sacrificed.
Oh, boy.
Are you kidding me? Oh, I just saw.
You better step up that
I
game.
mean, you want to talk about incentive to win.
There was someone put something up on their Facebook. There was a bunch of guys in prison back in the 1920s, and the prison system had a ball team, and they were all on death row, and the only way they could live was if they kept winning. And I think they were undefeated for so many games. They were
Really?
playing,
Yeah.
They were literally playing for their life.
Oh, my gosh.
They were
Yeah.
all on death row. I guess they were a hell of a ball club.
It would definitely help you, wouldn't it?
You would take every strikeout pretty tough.
Another kind of weird whatever topic here. Got an email from Joanne said, heard you guys talking about Jaybird's dream on Monday's show where his mom was coming to him repeatedly. Was she trying to tell him something? And can you receive a message in your dream? She said that I had a friend that kept having this recurring dream that she got into a car accident or pulled over for a DUI, and she told me about it. Said that it was a message that she needed to be more careful with her drinking. It was about 4 or 5 months later then that she got into a fatal car accident from drinking and driving.
Whoa.
And sadly took her life. And to this day, I believe that was the afterlife speaking to her through her dreams. That is my thought on that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, well,
That's real. I think that sort of thing is real.
Yeah, but the one thing that I will say about that is I was reading about your dreams. A lot of it is your mind is still working. It's clearing things out. You're still thinking through things and resolving things in your dream. They may just take on different forms and shapes. And I think probably in this situation, my guess, not to necessarily poop on that, who knows what it is, but that sounds like somebody who knew they had a drinking problem. They knew that, and they were telling themselves. And I think you have your own conscience, you have your own awareness, because we are wired to try to survive. That I think even in our own dreams, we're telling ourselves, be like, hey, you need to, while you're conscious, you need to up your awareness of this. You're still trying to work through issues. And I could see her having those dreams because she knows deep down, be like, one day, this is going to...
Time's up.
Yeah, it's going to cause you some problems. And so it's always on her mind, and then it's always on her mind even in her dreams.
I 110% agree with you. To debunk that, and I'm not trying to shit on it either.
Right.
If you were a naysayer, because I believe in the dream stuff. I do. You could say that, because you're right. She knew she was doing wrong by drinking and driving. It's in her subconscious. Absolutely.
She was telling her, So that's what I think that is. But it just goes to show you, too. It is interesting when I remember my dreams, and they say people are remembering them more through this whole pandemic for whatever reason.
Because you're getting more sleep.
And I think that I am as well. And it's kind of interesting because the next day as I think about what I was dreaming, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can see that manifesting itself that way because it's something that I'm still continually working through in my mind.
And I'm a firm believer of everybody deep down inside knows all of the things either A, they did wrong or that what they need to work on. Mm-hmm. Deep down, you may not confront it, but everyone knows.
Well, maybe sometimes that's your subconscious trying to bring a little bit more to the surface, saying, hey, you're ignoring this, but you shouldn't. You got a number 45 on the list. It needs to be number 2 or 1.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream last night that I bought you guys bowling shoes. I gave bowling shoes as a gift to everybody I knew.
I know what that means. You're just getting us ready to bowl over the competition. I love it. It's a motivational dream.
I like that.
It's great. Thank you, by the way.
They were big, too. They were like oversized, clownish looking bowling shoes.
And I know what that means. Don't get too big for your britches. Rein it in. Bowl over the competition. Don't get too big in your head. Love it. Great dream.
G text in from Fort Lickadale. and said, I once had a dream that I saw my cousin in my walk-in closet and he was yelling something to me and I couldn't understand. The next morning I got a phone call that he had died.
What?
And those might be the ones where, I find those to be fascinating.
Yeah, and there's also dreams, too, where a loved one who has passed comes to visit you, and they look really, really in a healthy state, maybe the healthiest. And when they were on the planet, that was where they were pretty much at the apex of their health. And they come and visit you just to kind of let you know, I'm okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just relax. And those are good, fun dreams if you want to have that kind of mind frame on that.
Yep. Maddie had sent this in about, have you ever seen the Paramore video for Ain't It Fun, where they do all the world's greatest records in the music video?
That's so weird. We just were talking about Ain't It Fun with Suits and Denny's during the commercial break during the show today, and none of us read that email.
How about that,
A lot
huh?
of weird things going on around here, Virginia.
In the email, the records varied from most feathers caught in 30 seconds, which was 18, to most vinyls broken in a minute, 58 records. Most vinyls spin on a finger, 32.81 seconds, and a couple other things. Maybe attempt some of the records in that video.
I love it.
Yeah. And Maddie, been listening since I was 18 and 21 now. And thank you very much. Said you guys got me through a lot. So appreciate you listening to Maddie.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Engineer Keith with some factoids here. We're talking about NASA looking for people to help them design a moon-based toilet.
I hope he drops another word we had never heard of before.
And we were talking about gravity being an issue, and does that toilet need a seatbelt on it? Just a little reminder, guys, that the moon has mass and therefore has gravity. Now, it's only 1/6 of the gravity the Earth has, but the gravity there will be enough to facilitate poo falling into a moon toilet.
Huh.
So there's a little bit of gravity on the moon.
Yep, 1/6 of what we have.
I get yelled at a lot when I say there's no gravity on the moon.
You do.
Or when I say there's a little gravity on the moon. But there is a little gravity in the moon.
There is.
Yeah.
1/6.
Look at that.
How about it?
But I had like 4 emails saying how wrong I was talking about that on the Weird and Whatever, and talking about the moon. And you dumb fuck, there's no fucking oxygen, no gravity, dick. I'm like, all right, all right, 1/6, bitch. Mm-hmm. I'll send it back.
Signed, Gravity Dick.
Yeah, what does gravity do on your dick?
I think
if
it
you
helps.
were naked in space, would that thing just be levitating?
You would hope. I mean, you'd hope it
But the
extends.
gravity wouldn't be pushing it down, right? It would just kind of always be like, woo, floating around, right? If you're naked in space.
I wonder if that would make you hard. Just the movement of it. Ooh, it's gonna make me hard now. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Do you have perma-boner in space?
Oh, that'd be rough. They say you don't want a boner longer than a couple hours, Virginia.
Gravity is what's pulling your balls down and making them so long. So,
And titties.
yeah, gravity makes them titties look like sand in a sock.
How do you spell titty?
Titty.
Old school. That's how I spell it. The new school spells it with D's. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Double D.
Maybe that's what the joke is.
Oh.
Shit, I just got it.
So when you go to a new school, is any school spelling titties?
I'm just saying, old school, new school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Age-wise. okay.
Age-wise. I think the young...
Homeschool kids spell it with D.
So my son Cannon's going to correct me. Like, Dad,
No.
sorry, titty is with 2 Ds.
Probably, though. I think
Double D's, Dad.
I think numbers back me up on that, Kevin.
They do. Okay. I won't doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, people are spelling it Tiddy. It's the new way, Virginia. I've always been a TT man.
Me too. I prefer a tit than a tid.
And a good little note that we've mentioned before, but Louise said, hey, that if you're going on Amazon, you can donate to your favorite charity, including Little Smiles. When you buy stuff, they get a little bit of a portion, and it starts to add up. It's 0.5% of every dollar you spend with them, but if you spend a lot of money on Amazon, it does add up.
Yes, it does. And so many people are using Amazon now. So just put that charity designation. It doesn't cost you anymore.
Right.
Amazon gives it, not you. So that's pretty darn cool.
Do you think Amazon can afford to part with some money?
I think they'll be okay.
Jeez. I saw Bezos going to be the first trillionaire. Is that correct? One of
Yeah.
these days, they've already
They know
projected
exactly.
his wealth.
Yeah, the year's like 2030 or something. He'll be a trillionaire.
Do you think when he was 15, he knew he was going to be king shit?
I don't know. I've never heard of any. He's from South Florida. I think he went to Pinecrest, right? And I've never heard anybody that hung with him or anything like that. And he's not super old.
I don't know if it's true because I read it on Twitter, but
that's by the way the worst source. And you come in with some shitty sources, but that is the worst, Virginia.
Somebody put on Twitter that Bezos' parents had to front him like $260,000 not too long ago because Amazon looked like it was going to go belly up. And they gave him that cash, and that helped him. And it wasn't like it was, that long ago.
How many likes did the tweet have? Over 10?
Yeah. And it's been retweeted a lot.
It's real. Oh, it's clearly real, Virginia.
It had some political something twist to it, too. That I wasn't going to get involved with.
You can't bring Bezos' name up without it getting political somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he attended first. He was at Miami Palmetto High. And it says in nearby Pinecrest, Florida. He then attended the Student Science Training Program at the University of Florida. He was high school valedictorian, a National Merit Scholar. And then it says he got his BSE from Princeton.
Okay, so he knew he was going to destroy it.
Yeah.
But he's a South Florida boy.
When you go to Princeton, you pretty much know you got your shit together.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's good that we have someone smart coming out of Florida because everyone keeps on, you live in Florida. So many people say
we
that.
made Bezos, y'all, so shut up.
That's right. Take that. All right, y'all. Thanks for locking it in. We still got a couple more shows for the weekend. Yeah! Back tomorrow. See you then.
Deserves world-class care. Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.